This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out in Bolton today. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, first of all, thank you very much for your time today, and how is everything?
It's always great to be in Bolton for a big night of boxing on Channel 5 this Friday. We've got the start of the Euros, Scotland versus Germany. The end of that game, flick the switch to Channel 5. Straight after the match, we've got our boxing's very own version of Scotland-Germany. We've got Abbas Baru, the European champion from Germany, taking on McGowan from Scotland in an absolute barn burner for the European title. So we've got what a night. Get the beers in. You've got the football on first. Scotland versus Germany. Very easy to remember as well after you've had a few beers. It's Scotland versus Germany, and it's Scotland versus Germany in boxing. So get tuned in. And we got the return of Lerone Richards. We've got Chloe Watson, European champion on. We've got Dan Toward, for me, one of the absolute future names of British boxing. So very, very exciting.
You just sold that absolutely perfectly.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you later.
But no, we'll talk about Abbas Baru.
Yeah.
He fought back in March and didn't dethrone, but picked up the European title after beating Sam Eggington in a great fight.
Great fight.
What is the plan for Abbas now? Obviously, come off victorious on Saturday. Where do you go from there? On Friday, even?
Well, we've got to wait our turn, don't we? WBA, you know? We've got to wait our turn. I think he's number 2 now. That should come later this year, but we've got to wait our turn. To be fair to him, a lot of people wouldn't take McGowan as a sort of, you know, keep busy, voluntary fight for the European Championship. Not a chance. McGowan, he's coming here to write his Rocky moment. He's going to stick it on him. For people who don't know, McGowan is a labourer by day, a boxer by night. Like, unbelievable, great record, tough guy. Like, you cannot make it up. Like the storyline he could write. At the same time, you've got Abbas, who's, you know, what is he? Bronze medal in the amateurs, number 2 in the world. He's got obviously the European title. He's got the world title shot coming up, and he takes on McGowan. So hats off to him for taking that. But he knows as well, he wants to not only stay busy, but he also wants to really keep himself sharp. And this is a tough fight.
And just moving away from this and looking at some big fights we've had recently. We had the Queensberry matchroom 5v5 out in Saudi Arabia. The fight I want to get your thoughts on in particular, Daniel Dubois versus Filip Hrgovic. Daniel was wrote off in the build-up and pulled off an incredible victory on the night. What did you make of his performance in the ring?
I think, very simple, I've said it in the media, is Daniel has sort of gone like this since the Joe Joyce fight. Like every fight that Daniel's fought after Joe Joyce, he's improved. And a lot of people said after Joe Joyce fight, no heart, whatever. I wouldn't so much look at this fight, but look at the Jarrell Miller fight. He had to dig deep. That's where he really impressed me.
And moving forward, obviously, it's now looking like he set up himself a big fight with Anthony Joshua and Wembley. How do you see that fight playing out between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois?
Having just said that about Daniel Dubois, I do think that Joshua, this is his time. And I think he'll be too strong for him on the night, and I expect him to stop him late.
And then, obviously, looking at the 5v5 concept, we know you've been out in Saudi with a few fighters, but when do you want to take Wasserman to that level?
Anytime, anytime whatsoever. For me, concepts in boxing, I've done, the Super 6, the World Boxing Super Series. I love them, and I think it's a great concept. Over the years, there's been certain shows where we've had 2 or 3 against another stable, and by chance sometimes. But this was by design, and what the Saudis are doing with the resources they have. It's not just resources; they've got a very clear vision. They implement that vision, and it's fantastic for the sport.
And do you feel, with the influence from Saudi Arabia, we're starting to enter almost a new golden era in boxing?
Yeah, golden era. You can call it lots of different names. You can call it. It's making people stand up and watch, and not just occasionally. The Saudis have been involved in a few years now for boxing. I did the first show in Saudi Arabia in 2018 with George Groves and Callum Smith. But and it was always like, there was Joshua versus Ruiz too. There was an Amir Khan fight. There was obviously fights here and there, all sorts of little bits scattered. Now there is an absolute rollout of a plan. And that's what boxing needs, is that consistency.
And it's bringing a lot of new eyes to the sport as well, isn't it?
You do that through the consistency. You do that through the events. You don't bring new eyes to the sport of boxing by doing what you do on a day-to-day basis. You mustn't lose the foundations of the sport, because that feeds into that part. But what they're doing is on a consistently doing these big events. That brings new eyes, of course.
Talking of bringing new eyes to the sport, a man that you work with, Mr. KSI, he's got a return date, 31st of August in Dublin. What was the reason for taking KSI out to somewhere like Dublin?
He fancied it. He calls the shots. It's new ground. It's in 24 years. It's the first time I'll promote in Dublin. Can't wait. The buzz out there now already is insane. I'm red hot, so very, very excited to get over there. But wait till you see the card we got lined up for there. So the buzz is now great, but when it actually goes, it will be phenomenal.
It's not one of those ones where, like, KSI is not just a traditional boxer, but you can take him anywhere. He's a global superstar. Is that why there's no worrying if he says he wants to go somewhere, you'll take him there?
We've got a few other places we're going to be going to with him. They're places that I've certainly never promoted. He's got that reach, doesn't he? He's a global superstar. He's not just a superstar in the UK. He had 250,000 people come out for him in Sydney, on the streets for Prime, So it's different to my day job.
And obviously you working in both, what is the difference between working in traditional professional boxing and then going over to the Misfits world, where it's a little bit more reckless?
Well, boxing can be quite reckless as well. I've had a few. Don't forget, I promoted Derek Chisora for a few years. He's thrown a few tables over my head. No, but look, there's elements that are the same. The health and safety, the ring, the way it works. The setup, the infrastructure. That's quite similar. The characters is very different, because, with all due respect to yourself and the other media here today, which is great to see, packed media day, fantastic. We don't need you lot for this, because what you have is a card full of, let's say there's 16 fighters. Those 16 fighters will have more following than any media I could get. They sell it themselves, so it's a different. You sort of sit back and watch. You don't have to, do media day. We do media, but it's a platform for what they're doing already. I often say, why do we actually do a media day with them? Because they roll it out themselves. It's almost a back to front version of it. It's quite strange in a way, but it works. The numbers. We just broke the record for our X Series numbers on the recent show in London with Salt Pappy, so it's not like it's. A lot of people said after the Prime card, this is going to fizzle out now. No, it keeps going, it keeps going, and there's also areas, it started all of YouTubers. You've now got, a lot of other sports coming in. We've got NFL players, we've got MTV stars, we've got all these different areas of life coming in. So it's quite interesting to see as well.
Kalle, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you
for talking Seconds Out.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thank you so much, Kalle.
Nice one.